2022, I had major heartbreaks. Oh gosh. My heart was broken. My heart was shattered. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Olajumoke Gbolao. If this is your first time of being here, I want to say a warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for being here. And if this is not your first time, you've liked, you've shared, you've subscribed, you've viewed, you've dropped a comment, guys, you've got my heart. Thank you so very much for your support. I really do appreciate it. So 2022 was such a big year for me and I learned a lot of lessons. However, I want to share with you lessons that will resonate with you. You know, when we say we learned a lesson, most of the time it's from something not a pleasant experience. Because you say, oh, I learned not to trust, I learned not to give, I learned not to do this or not to do that. Most of the time they are from unpleasant experiences. And I just thought that some of my own lessons, biggest lessons, will resonate with you. So how was your own 2022? You want to share with me some of your own biggest lessons in the comment section as well, because this is a community and we want to learn from one another. So 2022 was such a very definitive year for me. It was a big year and it taught me quite a number of lessons. Number one, it taught me to fight for my marriage, guys. It was almost like I was newly married because I was facing a different kind of new set of challenges. I faced a lot of challenges in marriage, but these were kind of new to me and they were different. I am grateful that I was able to realize it and be able, by the help of God, to nip it in the bud. However, but it was such a tough one. I learned to fight for my marriage. And this is just to say that if you've got any good thing going, either in marriage, either in different aspects of your life, this thing that I've got is a good thing. You've got to fight for it, guys. Some unpleasant situations are bound to come and bound to want to rock your boat. You've got to fight for it. So I started a job that was so demanding. It took almost everything from me. It was more like I got the job and I was exchanging it for my family or for my marriage. I was always fagged out when I got back home. The chit-chatting I used to enjoy with my family, my husband and my kids, all of those things were fast declining. The distance was becoming wider and wider. It looked more like my home was becoming an hotel for me. Like I just go sleep, wake, eat, and just move. There was that, space. There was that emptiness at that point. It took a lot from me, guys, more than I can explain, because I realized that I was fast losing everything that I held dear to me at most points, of my life. I had to call myself to sit down with myself, like strike a new balance. When you're faced with some new challenges, you need new strategies, you need new wisdom, you need new knowledge to be able to tackle them. Those are the things that I had to search out for. It wasn't the kind of cards I would have played previously to sort out the situations. These were new to me and it was a different ballgame entirely. I realized that whenever it was time to go home, I was at my lowest in terms of energy, in terms of strength, in terms of vigor or whatsoever. And when I was getting home, it looked more like I was telling myself I'm zipping my mouth. I wasn't going to say anything. I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted to eat and go to bed. I saw my marriage on a decline graph. And it took a lot of talking. It took a lot of conscious and intentional efforts, to get back my marriage and say, no, I didn't come to exchange my marriage or my family life for my job. I didn't come to exchange it, Another thing that happened was that because I recently moved from my base, to a new location, I didn't want it to look to my friends or to my people back from where I left, like, oh, like they say that, oh, she's left now, she doesn't communicate with us anymore. So I was struggling between trying to keep up with not having my friends or my people back at home say that of me, at the same time trying to fit into my job, at the same time trying to, you know, get a hold of my marriage. It was tough. But I knew what was important, and by the grace of God I was able to strike a balance to say, no, this time is strictly for family time. This time is okay, I can talk to friends and families. This time is for me to rest and recover, because you can't keep pouring from an empty cup. And I didn't want to pretend, neither did I want to lose my marriage or the relationship. Maybe the marriage is even a big word. The relationship I had with the friendship, because it was fast winning out, you know. And it was such a huge lesson for me to say, you see, what is important is important. You've got to get yourself together and strike a balance. And what happened for me was that I had to gather myself and say, no, this job is too demanding. When something is taking more than it should from you, then it's too much. You cannot afford it. And I had to change my job. I'm in a better place now because I have more time, both for family and friends, for myself and for my husband and for my kids, you know. So it was such a big lesson to create time and to fight, not sit back and say, oh, whatever will be, will be. I don't give a damn, or I'm too busy for this, or I'm too tired for this. And you know, that shows me how the statistics of when they say people move to a new destination or move abroad, the marriages fail. It's so real, guys, and it takes a lot for you to be able to put it together and strike a balance and not to allow that to happen to you. My number 2 lesson as I go on will be I learned to be diplomatic. Well, I used to be the kind of person who would just say it as it is. I don't sugarcoat things, or if I'm going straight up, I just come straight and say, this is it, this is how it's going to be, or this is not going to work. But man, 2022 taught me how to be diplomatic, you already know where you're going to, what you want to achieve from a conversation, but you know how to maneuver. I want to call it wisdom. I want to call it application of wisdom, or being diplomatic, how to maneuver your way to get to your destination without coming across as being demanding, being rude, or being insensitive, or, you know, being selfish, or, you know, I learned it. I learned how to be diplomatic. And some of my favorite words were like, I'm so sorry, you know, I'm sorry I really do apologize, you know, but I get what I want from you in such a diplomatic way. Number 3 lesson I learned, oh God, this is huge, guys. I learned to forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive again. 2022, I had major heartbreaks. Oh gosh. My heart was broken. My heart was shattered. You know, if you get people who don't really matter to you, who are not so close to you, who you don't place value on so much like that, you know, if they do things that hurt you, you can term it as disappointment. But when it comes to people who you place so much value on, people who you love, people who you invest on, people who you give, you know, everything that you could possibly give, you know, is really bad. I had such a major heartbreak 2022, and 2022 I learned to forgive over and over and over again. I learned to keep saying, Tofumi, I forgive you. Tofumi, I forgive you. For lack of a better name to use, I decided to use Tofumi, my daughter's name. You know, I had to keep saying, I forgive you, because I was deeply, deeply hurt. And I knew that love is a must for me. I had to forgive. It's not an easy process for anyone who is currently being hurt or in the process of forgiving and completely letting go. I know what you feel. I was there 2022. Forgiveness is a process, guys. It's a daily process to say, I forgive you today. I forgive you, till you feel no impact of the hurt anymore. You know, sometimes you think, oh, big deal, I forgive you. It's not as easy as that, guys. Sometimes it comes easy, sometimes it doesn't come easy, depending on the situation. But I learned to forgive in such a way that I didn't know it could be difficult, but I learned it all over again. Some things in life, we don't graduate from it. You just keep learning. The opportunity comes again. You're praying for patience. God brings up, situations with which you learn patience. You don't just learn patience by everything going on great and smooth and no one is upsetting you. No, that's not how you learn it. You learn it from facing situations, and then this is an opportunity for me to be patient. That was what happened to me. Saying it now, I feel such relief, and you really know that you've forgiven when you think about these people who have hurt you, and then you have no bad or negative emotions towards them. You have really forgiven when you can genuinely pray for these people. And I don't mean the die by fire kind of prayers. I mean the prayers from your heart, like you would pray for your friends, for your loved ones. You genuinely pray for them. You genuinely hear their names and you don't have any negative emotions. You know that you have gotten to that place. 2022 taught me all over again what forgiveness was. As much as I would say that I cannot afford, sometimes people hurt you without even realizing that they've hurt you. Sometimes you don't want to sit down, mourning over the hurt, whereas the people who hurt you have moved on with their lives. I had to come to that point to say, no, this hurt is not going to have any hold on me. As I'm saying it, it wasn't that easy because it was heavy on my heart for a while, till it got to the point where I had to physically confess it and say, no, I let you go. I do not feel any hurt or pain of whatever you've done. I forgive you. I forgive you. And it was such a big lesson for me. And based on the experiences of what happened, it was almost going to lead me to being unkind. Say, I thought I was being good. I thought I was, but that's not who I am. I was able to catch myself to say, no, this life experiences would not turn me to who I am not. It's not going to change my perception of me or change my personality. I still will be good. I still will be kind, and I will forgive as often as it needs to be forgiven. When God says forgive 70 times 7 times 7, it's easy when you read it, but when it comes to actually practicing it, you know that you've got a big thing on your hands. So if you have anyone who has hurt you, who you're trying to forgive, I hope you find the release. I hope you find the opportunity and the privilege, to be able to completely let go, so that you can be free, you can be happy, and you can open up your heart just again. However, love is a must for me, but access is at my discretion. So if you've hurt me so bad, it's my prerogative whether I want to give you access again, or whether I want to love you from a distance, or whether I want to draw you in again. And then it's my prerogative, just like it is your own prerogative right now to decide if you still want to give these people access to you. Because especially in situations where people hurt you without even knowing that they've hurt you, you might not want to give access, because you might just be opening yourself up to being hurt all over again. And that lesson, I have learned it, and heaven knows it's a pass mark for me. And right now, I don't want to have to go through that lesson yet again. Right. So another lesson I learned in 2022 is that life is indeed in seasons. And so don't undermine any season that you are in at the moment, because I have been at those seasons of my life where I was just taking in things, knowledge. I was just acquiring, doing a lot of things, self-development, it was just a season of me taking in things. And then I moved to a season in 2022 where I barely had time to do those things or to have those access to being in that season. It was a different season for me. And I was really grateful because I learned that if I did maximize the other season I was in, to have used that season to learn and to be the best version of myself, imagine what my 2023 will look like. And so don't undermine your season. Take in your season, learn from it, enjoy it, even though it might not be pleasant, or there could be better things, happening in that season of your life. But I learned that every season of my life, it was really as important as every other season. Another big lesson I learned in 2022 was that I am stronger than I could have ever given myself credit for. Wow, so many things I thought I could never do. So many things you would never catch me doing 2022, 2021 and years back. I didn't know that I had the capacity, I had the strength, I had it in me. When you give yourself opportunity to face new challenges, you would discover more about yourself. And it was such a huge lesson for me that never, indeed, Olajumoke, never say never about yourself, because you have more capacity than you actually give yourself credit for. Lastly, guys, one big lesson I want to share with you is I learned to pick my battles. I learned the game of clicking ignore. I learned to choose my battle, to say this one is no, it's not going to escalate. It's just I'm going to nip it in the bud right here. I learned to pick my battles. I did not fight every battle that was thrown at me. I learned with wisdom how to navigate such that I'm not constantly fighting battles, maybe with myself, with somebody else, or with situations. It was such a big lesson because it's such an energy sapping situation where you're constantly fighting, you're constantly dealing with issues. You've got to nip it in the bud and don't be a dustbin where people or situations just throw things at you and you're constantly struggling. Guys, I learned to take it easy and choose my battles. And so far, I'm reaping the rewards of my lessons from 2022, and 2023 is looking like it's going to be, promises to be a better year for me. Not that I'm not going to learn new lessons in 2023, but I hope I'm not repeating those lessons of 2022. And I'm happy to learn new lessons, guys, because the more we learn, the more we grow. Thank you so much for listening in. If you haven't shared, you haven't liked, please go ahead, like, share, subscribe, hit the subscribe notification, button, and be a part of this video. I look forward to uploading my next video. Thank you so much. Bye for now.